Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Pearson, your elementary ELL teacher. Today, our lesson is going to focus on writing a written retell of How Chipmunk Got His Stripes. This is from our second grade Journeys textbook, lesson 9. And for this lesson, you will need a piece of paper and a pencil. So if you don't already have those things, push pause, get your materials, and then push play to rejoin the lesson. Because at the end of our review, you're going to challenge yourself and answer this question. What happened in the story? Write a retell. We're going to use our traffic light colors. Green means go, or tell the beginning or the start of the story. And you're going to say first and write it. Then we're going to slow down. Yellow means slow down. And you're going to say what happened in the middle of the story, saying then, writing it, and next, and write it in a complete sentence. And then finally, you're going to talk about the end of the story or the finish. And you're going to use the sequence word last and write a complete sentence. So here's our learning target. I can write a retell of the story, How Chipmunk Got His Stripes, using complete sentences. Success criteria. This means how will you know you're successful at writing a retell of the story, How Chipmunk Got His Stripes? Well, here are our steps to success. We're going to do it these steps one step at a time. Number 1, I will say, match, and write the characters and settings. Then number 2, we're going to say and match the lesson or moral of the story, what the characters learned. Number 3, we're going to put the retelling pictures in the correct sequence or order. 4, we're going to say, match, and then write the sentences for each picture, saying what happened first, then, later, and last. And then finally, we're going to check your writing using my writing checklist. Let's review. How Chipmunk Got His Stripes is a folk tale. A folk tale has no one specific author, told for a long time by a group of people, ordinary characters who live ordinary lives and have something extraordinary happen to them. Folk tales are stories that have been told orally from generation to generation. That means over many, many years. Moral. The moral is a lesson about life that a fable teaches. Usually, the moral can usually be found at the end of the story. Characters. Characters are the people, animals, or objects in a story. Setting. Setting is where the story takes place. Sequence is the order things happen in a story. For example, we use the sequence words first. You're going to write these sequence words, next, and last, or beginning, middle, and end. So let's orally review, say out loud what happened in the story before we write it. Retell of How Chipmunk Got His Stripes. The main characters are, who are the main characters in the story? The main characters are Bear and Brown Squirrel. The setting is where does the story take place? The setting is the forest. So let's put our pictures in the correct sequence or order. First, then, next, last. So what happened first in the story? What does Bear do or say? First, Bear bragged that he could do anything. Brown Squirrel told him to tell the sun not to rise. Then Then what happened? What happened? Why is Bear angry in this picture? Then Brown Squirrel teased Bear because the sun came up. Bear was furious. Next, what is happening to Brown Squirrel and why? Next, Bear chased Brown Squirrel toward his tunnel. His claws scratched down Squirrel's back. And last, what happened in the spring? Last in the spring, Brown Squirrel's stripes healed. His name changed to Chipmunk. In the end, Brown Squirrel learned not to. What did Brown Squirrel learn? He learned not to, it's one of our vocabulary words, not to tease. And Bear learned not to brag. So now that we've reviewed the story out loud, now we're going to write 4 sentences to retell the story. It's the end of our review. It's time to challenge ourselves with our paper and pencil. You will need that paper and pencil that you got. If you haven't already gotten your pencil and paper, push pause and get it. And when you're ready, push play. So again, you're going to answer this question, what happened in the story? Write a retell. We're using our colors green, yellow, and red. Green means go, or tell what happened at the beginning. You're going to say first, you're going to write this sequence word and write a whole sentence. First, what happens at the beginning? Then we're going to slow down. Then you're going to tell us what happens in the middle of the story by writing the sequence words then and write a complete sentence. And then next, write another complete sentence that goes with the picture. And then finally, you're going to tell what happened at the end or the finish. And you're going to use the word sequence word last and write a complete sentence. So remember to say each sentence out loud before you write it. Say each sentence out loud before you write it. Here's the writing checklist. Before you write, remember you need to use finger spaces between each of your words. Don't cram your words all together. Use punctuation or periods at the end of each of your sentences. Use an uppercase letter at the beginning of each of your sentence. And sound out any unknown words, words you don't already know how to spell. Write the sounds you hear. And then my favorite, reread each of your 4 sentences and make sure they make sense. And make sure you have finger spaces, punctuation, uppercase letters, and sounds. All right. Again, what happened in the story? Write a retell. We're going to start at the beginning and write the first, what happened first in the story. So you're going to write first, Bear brags that, what does Bear brag? First, Bear brags that. So you need to push pause, write this sentence starter, and complete it. Say your whole sentence out loud. What does Bear do first? First, Bear brags that. So push pause when you're done writing your complete green sentence or retelling the beginning of the story. Push play when you're finished. And then we'll move on to our yellow sentence. All right, now we're moving to the middle of the story. And here's our first yellow sentence. Later, Brown Squirrel teases. Who does Brown Squirrel tease and why? So you're going to write later, Brown Squirrel teases and complete that sentence. So you need to push pause, write your first yellow sentence, say it, and then write the whole complete sentence. And when you're finished with your first yellow sentence, rejoin the lesson and push play. All right, next, Bear scratches. Who does Bear scratch? You need to say your sentence out loud and then write the complete sentence. Next, Bear scratches. So push pause, say and write your second yellow sentence. When you're finished with your second yellow sentence or retelling the middle of the story, push play. And finally, we're going to retell what happened at the end or the finish. Last, brown squirrel stripes. What happens to brown squirrel's stripes? So you're going to write last, brown squirrel's stripes, and then finish that sentence. So push pause, say your read sentence out loud. Last, brown squirrel's stripes. What happens to brown squirrel's stripes? And when you're finished writing your read sentence, push play again. So push pause, say and write your read sentence, and then when you're finished, push play to rejoin the lesson. All right, so now it's time to check your 4 sentences, your retell, and we're going to look again at our writing checklist. Did you use finger spaces between each of your words for each of your 4 sentences? Did you use punctuation? Put a period at the end of your sentence, each of your 4 sentences. Did you use uppercase letters at the beginning of each of your sentences? Did you sound out and write any unknown words, write the sounds of those words? And then my favorite, did you reread each of your sentences? So you need to do that now. Make sure you have finger spaces, punctuation, uppercase letters, sound out unknown words, and reread each of your sentences. Push pause and do that. And when you're finished, push play to rejoin the lesson. All right, up at the top of your retell, let's reflect on our learning. I can write a retell of the story, How Chipmunk Got His Stripes Using Complete Sentences. Would you give yourself a 4? I could teach this lesson. I easily retold the story in writing using the sentence starters. I also used my writing checklist for all of my sentences. Or would you give yourself a 3? I retold the story in writing using the sentence starters. I also used my writing checklist for most of my sentences. Excuse me. Or would you give yourself a 2? I retold some of the story in writing and used my writing checklist for some of my sentences. Or 1, I did not retell the story and did not use my writing checklist. How do you think you did? 4, 3, 2, or 1? Write your reflection. And you can check your work with mine. Here's an example. First, Bear brags that he can do anything. So Brown Squirrel tells him to make the sun not rise. So first, Brown Bear brags that he can do anything. So Brown Squirrel tells him to make the sun not rise. Then Brown Squirrel teases Bear because the sun still rose in the morning. So, whoops, why did it go so fast? Sorry, boys and girls. Then Brown Squirrel teases Bear because the sun still rose in the morning. Next, Bear scratches down Brown Squirrel's back as he runs away. And finally, last, Brown Squirrel's stripes heal in the spring and his name changes to Chipmunk. All right, boys and girls, thank you for writing the retell with me. I had fun. I hope you did too. Have a great day.